one meal a day. Do you think that's the more is better philosophy that doesn't work? What are your thoughts on that?
So it depends, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that for some people, the one meal a day is great.
Mm-hmm.
But again, these are generally people who their number one goal is health related. Mm-hmm. So you've probably heard me say this. All of my athletes who work with me at Lean and Green have heard me say this, but I'll talk you guys through it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that every person has 3 general goals and an umbrella goal. And I think we all have these 3 goals at all times. So the goals, like let's picture we have a triangle, and at one corner we have health, and at the other corner we have aesthetics. So like how you look when you're naked.
Right.
And at the other corner we have athletics. And all of them are probably at least a little bit important all the time. Mm-hmm. But the closer you move to importance on one, the further you're going to have to step away from the others.
Yeah.
So if your number one priority is health, maybe it's getting your hormones under control, maybe it's getting your blood sugar under control, maybe it's managing disease, then eating 1 time a day really might be for you. But you need to understand that that's going to move you pretty far away from most of your fitness goals. And depending on your goal, if your goal is to be muscular and big, it's going to move you pretty far away from your aesthetic goals. But that's your cost benefit right there, right? Mm-hmm. And if your goal is to go to the CrossFit Games, that's great, but like you're beating the shit out of your body. You're moving away from that health goal a little bit for a while.
Yeah.
And, again, I think especially for females, if your sport is CrossFit,
right,
probably moving away from those aesthetic goals a little bit. So it's just, why are you doing it? Again, right. It comes to why.
Yeah. Do you think it's sustainable to train and eat like a competitive athlete for very long?
No.
What are your thoughts on that?
I don't think so. I don't think so. Training is one whole category of I don't think so. And it depends a little bit on your sport.
Sure.
But it's hard, mm-hmm. right? It's especially, I think if your sport is something like swimming, where you're taking a lot of the load off of your joints, mm-hmm. there is a lot more longevity in that. And you see that masters swimming is still very competitive worldwide, up into people's 50s, 60s, and older. But again, if you're looking at a sport like CrossFit, the clock runs down a little bit faster, except for those who are probably very lucky and genetically gifted, just because you are pounding on those joints all the time. Mm-hmm. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, from a nutritional aspect. What are your thoughts? Like eating like you have to to be a competitive CrossFit athlete.
So again, I think that as we age, whether we choose to or not, we are often forced to prioritize our health more and more. Mm-hmm. And because of that, the eating for competition, I think, becomes less and less realistic. Because as you were just saying, and I don't know if you researched this or if you figured it out intuitively or a little bit of both, mm-hmm. but as we were saying, it's not good to be full all the time. It's not good for your body to be digesting all the time. It's not good for cell reproduction. It's not good for, as you said, your gut lining. It's not good for your hormone levels. Mm-hmm. So it just becomes less and less realistic as we age, and health has to become a bigger priority.
Yeah. That's interesting. I haven't thought about it that way before, but you're exactly right, because if you want to live a decent lifespan, you probably need to get off the high glycemic carbs at some point.
Yeah.
I heard or read something about I want to say he was like an Ironman runner or competitor, marathon runner, or something like that, where he actually became diabetic during his training time for marathon, because you're eating so many high glycemic carbs.
Yeah. And I have done a half Ironman, and I was told when I started my training, because I was 100% paleo at the time, you can't do this and stay paleo. And you probably know this about me, but I was like, the fuck, I can't.
No.
So I did, but it was hard.
Yeah.
And everybody around me, the amount of like goos and like legitimate sugar cubes they would be eating during races, whereas I was having like dates or like those apple sauce squeeze packs, like baby food basically. They are great. I can imagine it.
Yeah. Yeah, because those goos are just pure sugar and electrolytes, right?
Yeah.
I've never really eaten them before, but
Yeah, and some of them are better than others, you know, but of course you find the ones that are just corn syrup and salt, basically.
right. And a lot of times they're handing stuff like that out on,
Yep.
which is probably not the highest quality ones.
Right.
Would be my guess.
Right.
So.
Sure.